Coming up on City Spotlight, we're on location once again here in Season 7, and we're back in Arthur. We'll talk with the Mayor of Arthur, Randall, and Christy Miller, Executive Director of Simply Arthur, about the impact of COVID-19 on the Arthur area. Plus, capital improvements, completed sewer work, the building of a new wastewater treatment facility, and road improvement work in Arthur. Then we'll talk schools in the Arthur area with Superintendent of Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond Schools, Shannon Cheek, about the current school year and how students are learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. We're on location and we're talking all things Arthur here on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. And welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. As you can see, we are on location and we are back in a familiar place, City Hall in the village of Arthur, and we are pleased to welcome back to the program two familiar guests, the Mayor of Arthur, Randall. Rod, pleasure as always.
It's nice to be here.
And we welcome back to the program Christy Miller, who has a new title. And Christy, tell us who you're with now.
I do. I am the Executive Director for Simply Arthur, which means I oversee economic development, tourism, and business advocacy for the Arthur area.
Christy was on our earliest episodes of On Arthur, back in Season 1 and 2, involving tourism. Tell us about when you took the new position.
I have been in this new position. We combined economic development and tourism just about a year and a half ago. Okay. So been the director ever since then.
And been in the community many years, and your previous position, how did they prepare you for this new endeavor?
Well, my previous position, I was the tourism director, so I got to learn a lot about the area. You always think that you kind of know your area, but when you're thrown into a position like that, you really did learn a lot. And having a relationship with the business owners already in the community has really helped serve this position.
Plus, Christy is now a trustee she's on the village board, and she is the chairperson of our community relations and tourism committee. So it's a good opportunity for us to communicate well with the village and the Economic Development Corporation, which is now Simply Arthur.
Very good. Not only a title change, a name change also. Very good. As we talked about last time with Rod, the last time we talked Arthur was about a year and a half ago, and it was the recent passing there at that time of Bob Doan to fill those shoes, tough shoes to fill. But you have a very familiar face, Rod, stepping into the position.
Yep, we're very pleased with the new director.
Christy, any early or short-term, long-term goals? What are you working on at this time that you can speak of?
Well, we definitely have a lot of goals. One of the things that we actually just completed is a brand new website for the Arthur area, really featuring hitting our visitors. We see a lot of visitors through our area on a regular basis. A little slow these days right now with everything, but still seeing visitors. So we wanted to really give them something that they could understand our area. So we did just finish a brand new website, and we've got some big goals, economic development-wise and tourism-wise.
And what's the website?
It is arthurillinois.us. .us is very important.
Very good. Many characters can be after that, so .us, yes. Very good. That's pretty exciting, Rod. New website.
Absolutely. And the village is maybe working that way too, to get a new website and follow their example. I mean, it's a very nice website. We like it a lot.
Kind of been a down year for a lot of us, but exciting to hear new website. It's got to feel good for the village and the Arthur area. All right, impact of COVID-19 has been felt everywhere, and I think mostly, especially in these communities here in Central Illinois, festivals and events, and we know that Arthur has quite a few of them. Can you speak of the impact of COVID-19 on the local events?
Oh, absolutely. I think all in all, I think Christy would agree with me, though, that our businesses have done pretty well through this. Our manufacturing has done well through this. It has certainly hampered our festivals, and some of the things we do there. And I'm a little concerned about what that means for the future. I mean, even if we get back to a more normal way of doing things, has that created a social difference that people may not come back to those large events like that? And I hope that's not the case, and I hope we can do many things to re-promote our festivals and re-energize our festivals. But there is concern with that, and we're seeing impact of social media and people not becoming as involved in all kinds of activities in the community, and that concerns me a little bit too. I hope that people don't get into this new normal where they're not coming back and being part of the community and doing things. So that's one impact that I see. But business-wise, I think we've made it through. Of course, April was a scary month for everybody, yes, but things have just kept getting better and better. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I will say I'm pleased. A lot of small businesses, unfortunately, have had to close and stuff, but here in the Arthur area, we have not had to see that. We've gotten creative with some different things, and the businesses have really stepped up and tried to figure out what they needed to do, and the community has certainly rallied behind those businesses. So I am pleased to say that we haven't had any businesses close, and actually, as Rod alluded to, some of our manufacturing and home-based businesses have been thriving through all of this, so we're really excited for that as well.
We do look forward to hopefully returning back to the new normal. I know that in those first couple of seasons of City Spotlight, enjoyed my time taping the festivals and had the colorful features, and we hope that one day we can return to those exciting times.
We do too.
Very good. Rod, I have a list of things that you have down that you want to talk about, so let's get right to it in the time that we have left. Capital improvements.
We've kept plowing ahead with our capital improvements, doing a lot of things. We just completed our sewer lining project, which was a major project. We're just about done with the manhole lining and new manholes, so our sewer system is going to be good for decades and decades and decades. We've installed our MIOX system, which is a system for our drinking water. And that system is not quite 6 months old. We're supposed to see our best results in about 6 months. And it's a cost-saving thing too, because we won't be using liquid chlorine anymore in our water, which is also a safety thing. It's going to improve safety because we're not going to be handling liquid chlorine. We're building a new wastewater treatment plant building. That's going to be also cost-saving eventually, because our waste now will come in compressed cakes that can just go to the landfill. Before, we were tanking liquid waste away, and that was quite expensive to do that. So we're moving ahead with a lot of nice projects. And then Moultrie and Douglas County is planning on really improving the roads south of Arthur, right down Vine Street, the Magnificent Mile, they call that. And that's going to be a major improvement in the next couple of years. They are working together to really add curbing and widening the road. It's going to be a really nice addition. I think that will help traffic even for downtown.
Yes, very much
It'll
so.
be a nice thoroughfare all the way through. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on.
So that major intersection that we all know of in Arthur, that's kind of where Moultrie and Douglas kind of collide. So you're talking going south.
South, right.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of traffic on that road for sure. Absolutely. And the new wastewater treatment, is that going to be a brand new building, or are you going to kind of?
It is. It's a brand new building. Okay. Yeah, it's already, the foundation's already in. We've got the contract let for the building, so it'll be up soon.
Okay. And you listed Vine Street improvements, and I believe we've talked a couple of times. All these things we've kind of talked about in our previous episodes. I'm going to talk about new housing.
New housing. We do have a developer who is very interested in working on a 32-unit family housing addition off of Rima Drive, which is on the north side of Arthur. It'll probably be a couple more years before that comes to any kind of conclusion, but 32 units will be a really nice addition to our community.
And economic development, lots of businesses in the Arthur area, inside, outside of town. Any expansions, anything new that you can speak of?
We do actually on that Magnificent Mile. Shady Crest Farm Market, which is very familiar to people, are putting up a very large expansion to their facility. So we're watching that progress. So that is one of the bigger ones right now. We do have some other ones. Unfortunately, we can't speak of some of that right now that's coming up, but that is definitely one of the big ones that you're going to see right now, and looking forward to that building going up.
Again, we're taping here in early October. Folks at home are seeing this in early November. Other things that you can speak of that you're excited about for the future of Arthur as we are taping here in the final months of 2020?
Our board potentially has a major turnover. 6 of our 8 elected officials will be coming up for election in April.
Wow.
So we're looking forward to that. It's an opportunity for people who are interested in the community to get on board, because you usually don't have that many elected officials in one election. We've had a very good board. The board's been very responsive, done a lot of things. As far as the future, what do we got?
Well, we've got a lot of things. We do have, in addition to that housing, we have some other individuals that are looking at some of the property that the village does currently own in some other locations around the city that they're looking at potentially developing on that as well. So housing is a big project for us that we are looking forward to on the village side and the economic development side. And like I said, our businesses are thriving and doing great, and we continue to, find ways to support them. And we do have some potentials. Of course, unfortunately, with the situation that the state and the country is in right now, not a lot of businesses are wanting to open up. We're kind of taking the temperature of everything and seeing how things go. So we do have some opportunities of places for sale and some rentals that are available as well if somebody's interested. But we are excited with where the village is at currently.
One thing I've caught up on here, this is our 9th episode here covering Arthur and 7 seasons of City Spotlight, so we enjoy coming to Arthur, is definitely how everybody in the community certainly works together, and it could be no less to speak of everybody working together during these strange times here. The community, Rod, working together. Sounds like you're able to progress during these strange times.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any other final comments you guys have here as we wrap up our interview with you, Christy and Rod?
Nope. I just hope that we get back to normal things soon. I know that it's going to affect us for a long time. It's not going to be an overnight change. But I think everybody is very optimistic in our community and knows that it'll be fine.
Final comment from you, Christy?
Yes. Well, as we all know, Arthur is very authentic, and we have managed to prove that through these times. And so we're just encouraged by that, and just want to thank our community members for stepping up to the plate. And I want to thank you for coming down and featuring us again.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to come back to Village Hall. And again, we look forward to not having to use the phrase as the new normal, just be the normal.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
Rod, Randall, Christy Miller, appreciate your time here again on City Spotlight. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And coming up next here on City Spotlight, we'll talk Arthur Schools. We'll stay right here in Village Hall, and we'll talk with Superintendent Shannon Cheek. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Arthur. And welcome back to City Spotlight as we continue this on-location episode on Arthur. We're continuing to tape here in early October at Village Hall in Arthur, and we're going to talk all about Arthur Schools now. We welcome first time to the program Shannon Cheek. He's the superintendent of Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond Schools. Shannon, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for making the time again as we tape here on October 6th here in Arthur. And we've had educators on this program from the ALAH School District before, but Shannon, you're a first-time guest of the program. Can you tell our audience at home a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. So Shannon Cheek. This is my second year as superintendent of Arthur CUSD 305. Spent 20 years as an educator in Mahomet Seymour District. Was a coach, was a teacher, served as assistant principal, and then my last 8 years of those 20 were served as principal of the high school there in Mahomet.
Staying in Central Illinois, Mahomet to Arthur. So what brought you to Arthur?
Well, at the time, both of my girls were at a point in their lives. I have two children, two daughters, where I had finished my superintendency and was looking for a new challenge, and honestly was just kind of looking around the area. Didn't want to leave the area. My wife is from here and from the area and works in the area as well. So when the Arthur position was posted, it intrigued me. It's very similar to a school that I attended, high school. I attended high school in BMed. So it was a very similar size and demographic. And once I started asking around and found out, kind of reinforced what I already knew, and that was that it was a great district, I decided to throw my hat in the ring.
So your familiarity and you had family connections, so that always makes the decision maybe a little bit easier.
Sure.
Okay. Again, we're taping here early October. Folks at home are seeing this episode for the first time in November. Shannon, tell us about the current school year in Arthur. When did you guys start, and how are you guys learning?
We're learning a lot of different ways, honestly. So we started in August. August 19th was our start date, which is what we originally had planned for. As you're aware, and as everybody is aware, things are different right now.
Oh, yes.
We did make the decision to return full in person. And that is going very, very well. We have about 10% of our population, student population, that are full remote. But again, about 90% of our students are in person, and we are operating on a reduced schedule, which has worked out well. And we just made the decision to continue that reduced schedule all the way through first semester. So we'll be reevaluating our situation in December and making decisions on what that's going to look like for second semester.
Day-by-day approach with COVID, and in your case, maybe week to week, month to month, as we found out with other school districts. We've had other superintendents on this program, higher education as well, so interesting to hear your perspective. Let's dive back a few months before in the summer, because I've heard some interesting answers about the preparation for this upcoming school year and how you've had to change on the fly. Talk about the preparation, especially with as many buildings as you're responsible for in all the communities in this very unique school district.
Yeah, so it was an interesting summer, obviously, to say the least. Not a lot of getaway time, as we try to do in the summer as educators, but we spent most of our summer strategizing, talking about what our school year would look like. What can we do for our staff to prepare them for the upcoming school year? So we were able to create some trainings for our staff and try to get ahead of the curve in regards to the remote learning piece, because we figured that would come into play at some point. So we rolled out some trainings that were completely volunteer for our teachers, and I would say about 80 to 90% of our staff gave their time over the summer to go through those trainings to prepare. So again, just a reinforcement of such a great district that I'm blessed to be a part of.
A lot of flexibility from everyone in the school district to make this happen. Talk about the flexibility that obviously everybody's had to be put in.
Yeah, we tried to gain some input from our community, obviously. So we did some surveying, like most districts did. We took that information and tried to move forward with the best decisions we could possibly make for our kids. And one of our goals was to always try to entertain the idea of in-person instruction, because as you're aware, in March of last year, when things shut down, we had to piecemeal some remote learning plans together. And although I felt like that was a strong effort from our staff, it wasn't the same as the in-person option. So again, did some surveying, did some training with staff, gathered as much input as we possibly could, and the rules were changing, it seemed like, weekly with what we were going to be allowed to do and not be allowed to do. So we had to navigate those waters as well. And with the help of the board, the community, and the administrative team, I think we put together a pretty solid plan. And here we are in October, and we're still in person. So that's great.
And so far to this point, the 5th episode of Season 7 of City Spotlight, we're in person here. It's great to talk face-to-face, but I'm sure we'll have some Zoom interviews and some other ones down the road. So it's great to hear, obviously, to be able to do the in-person the best you can. As we know, Arthur, Lovington, Atwood, Hammond, many communities in this school district, several buildings. You have a grade school in Atwood, which we've been to, and obviously you have a school in Lovington, and obviously the schools in Arthur. the dynamics of a pandemic with a co-op. Any more challenging?
Yeah, I mean, you got different buildings, so that creates some challenges when you're trying to make decisions during the pandemic, obviously. We've had some minimal cases within our district, which we're grateful of. But with those cases and having those different buildings in different communities, I think it allowed us it provided some challenges, but it also allowed us a little flexibility in how we could handle those situations because we did have the different buildings. So we're able to make decisions based on site instead of district-wide. So, it did present some challenges, but we're navigating them.
We mentioned buildings. Any facility changes? Obviously, this is the start. This is your second year.
Yeah.
We did not catch you in your first year as superintendent, but any notable facility changes during your early tenure here in this school district?
Well, we were in the middle of a facility study last year that got rudely interrupted again in March, but we're continuing that process. The community is going to hear more and more about that. We're going to continue to finish up this year with our facility study and gather some information related to needs and wants, get some feedback and input from our community on what those needs and wants look like as well. So do we have a plan set in stone right now? No, but we hope by the end of this school year we'll have more of a strategic plan developed for facilities and be able to make some of those decisions moving forward.
Without going into detail, obviously you have an older high school building. I imagine some of that study involves the high school.
It does. We worked with an architect that I'm familiar with and did what's called a CLEO study, where we did some surveying, did some walkthroughs of the building, tried to look at how we're educating kids in the current facility and what that could potentially look like with some upgrades. So we did some of that work last year, and that work will be continuing this year. But what I really like is, you mentioned the age of the high school. Who we're working with is very sensitive of that. So when we start talking about upgrades or potential needs of those buildings, we are definitely going to consider and take into account the integrity of the building, because it's really important. It's just such a neat facility.
I'm a big firm believer on tradition, so it's great to hear to take that sensitivity to those that enjoy the current building and keep it in the best way you can. Any programs you'd like to highlight? Obviously, how any program right now is being conducted in whatever way. Are there any programs you'd like to highlight going on in the school district?
I think, honestly, I just would like to reiterate how proud I am of all of our communities, our students, and our staff. It may not necessarily be considered a program, but just navigating the waters we're navigating right now, it takes all of us to be on board to do that. And I couldn't be more proud of the efforts of our community and the support we've received, our teachers, the amount of time and effort they've put in, our administrative staff trying to, basically reinvent how they go about their business. So it's not a program per se, but I just am really proud of the efforts of all of our stakeholders.
Again, folks at home are seeing this episode in the beginning of November. So you said you're going to reevaluate some things come December. What might be some things that you're in consideration for reevaluating come to that point?
Well, I think there's going to be, the question is always going to be on the table of, do you continue in person? Do you continue to offer a remote option? Do you look at going back to a normal school day, which would be a 3 o'clock, 3:15 dismissal versus the 1:30 dismissal that we're doing right now? So those are going to all be questions we're going to have to consider and wrestle with moving forward.
Flexibility is the key. All of our superintendents and educators have pretty much had to state that, because that's the world we're in right now with COVID-19. Shannon Cheek, it's been a pleasure having you on the program here, the superintendent of Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond Schools. Shannon, it's been a pleasure talking with you here on City Spotlight.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Look forward to talking with you down the road. And that'll do it for this on-location episode here on Arthur, here in Season 7 of City Spotlight. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to City Spotlight. You can check out past episodes, including the one you're watching right now, on YouTube. To check out recent episodes of Central Illinois towns featured on City Spotlight, search on YouTube, City Spotlight, with the show number and the name of the town. Listed on your screen are the last 5 episodes of City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.